And so I'm looking forward to Mike Israetel's apology when he says, "I'm sorry, Coach Greg, for lying about you. I got you wrong. I made a mistake. You're not selling snake oil. Everyone else is." I can't wait to hear Mike's apology. Coach Greg, and in today's video, Mike thinks he's the smartest trainer of all time. He thinks he knows more, is better than everyone, that he's more accomplished than everyone, and that he can't learn a single thing from anyone in this world, except for perhaps from Jared Feather or somebody from Renaissance Periodization. He has a raw IQ higher than everyone. And even if he's on steroids, which decreases his fluid intelligence, he's still far superior.
A marked proximate reduction of IQ. Like right now, as I talk to you, I'm on contest prep. I'm on a considerable dose of anabolics. I'm not as smart right now.
Makes me shit my pants. Thank you.
And not only that, of course he talks about Coach Greg. He continues to yap about me and spread further lies about what I'm doing. And so we're going to show you. Many people say it's only Coach Greg that does videos about Mike. Mike goes on podcasts and without any warning whatsoever, he starts talking about me. And so if you think it's a one-sided beef, I don't hate Mike. Mike hates me. And if you knew the deep level of hatred he has towards me, I do believe and think that you would be shocked.
Mike has a PhD in science physiology, so he's very well known on the science community, bodybuilding community. Also co-founder of RP, also dieting app and training app.
Yeah, no. Mike is best known for being the guy who can't get an IFBB Pro card because he can't get a proper...
Thank you so much, Samal. That's very nice of you to say.
Okay, so now that I sucked your dick a little bit.
And so his words, not mine, he sucked his Turk for a little bit. Now remember, I do believe that Mike liked that, and you do understand exactly why. Does Mike not continue to talk in that homoerotic sense in several of his videos?
Is it hard for you to say, like, I want to get an IFBB Pro card, and then you don't get it? How do you deal with it? Like, because I'm really afraid also, I get a lot of hate from all of my community since the beginning.
And so Mike, he's rattled. You see him twitching the pec, flexing the pec, and the several winks. He's ticking away, he's vibrating, he's shaking. He doesn't know how to answer these difficult questions. Mike, what's it like when you say you're going to get an IFBB Pro card, but then you get 6th place because of your tan? How do you deal with that? Tell us, Mike.
It's a good question.
Thank you, Greg.
And so his response, yep, it's a good question. Mike is stumped. He doesn't know what to say. And so he's going to now yap for about 5 minutes and say anything but he should have said. He should have said, I know, I made a mistake. I was wrong. Getting an IFBB Pro card, it's a lot of work. I couldn't do it. I perhaps don't have the genetics to do it, the willpower, but that's not what he's going to say. Remember, Mike previously said he has more willpower than anyone. He's smarter than anyone. He knows more than everyone.
You've never met anyone with as much willpower as me. And whatever it is you think you're good at in your life, I'd probably take about a year and become an authority in the field in which you think you're good.
I have more willpower than you.
He's both smarter and bigger than Mike Menser.
Who am I compared to Mike Menser? Well, I'm bigger and stronger than Mike Menser. That's it.
And so, had it not been for a proper tan, he'd be pro right now.
They undertanned the living crap out of me.
If you really want to make yourself unhappy, then you will put goals in front of yourself or hopes in front of yourself that are unrealistic.
And so Mike being, I do believe, highly intelligent, I'm not trying to say that Mike isn't a smart guy. He just doesn't know how to diet and train properly to get his dream physique. But when he said it was a goal to get an IFBB Pro card, it was more of, let's call it a dream. He perhaps dreamt about it one evening. He calls it himself a hope, as in he hoped to do this, but he says it himself. When you have goals that are unrealistic, it's setting yourself up for failure. And so Mike, being as intelligent as he is, why does he set himself up for failure? Does he want to feel like he's a failure? Does he only take on challenges that he knows he can't accomplish in order to feel like he's a loser? Why would he do this to himself?
And the result of me having to put bodybuilding aside after a not so great show placing was lots and lots of pain and anger and depression.
And so in not achieving his IFBB Pro card, his hope, his dream, in getting 6th place, it caused him pain, anger, and depression.
Like all I feel is rage.
Because of his I don't think you should put your hopes and dreams on the color of your skin. I don't care if you're black, white, brown, blue. I don't care if you're a freaking Smurf. Why do you put so much emphasis on the color of your skin in order to win a pro card when you know it's just a hope or dream?
And feelings of deep vengeance that are with me every hour that I'm awake.
And so because he didn't win his pro card, for every hour that he's awake, there's probably 16 hours a day, at least one time in the day, he thinks of vengeance, rage. And so imagine being in Mike Israetel's shoes. Now listen, there's perhaps people in this world that have done some bad things, but I wouldn't wish Mike Israetel's mindset on anyone. Imagine every day of your life, every hour, dreaming of vengeance, having rage.
And that means in my case, health permitting, I will almost certainly come back to bodybuilding competition and will try very, very hard to get a pro card in the future.
And so Mike, he's simply on a timeout. He's gonna take his time and train and eventually try to get his IFBB Pro card. Despite all the side effects, the rage, the deleterious effects that taking steroids has on his health and his body, he's still going to continue to do it. And why? Because of the deep vengeance, the depression, the anger that he feels from failing to do what he set out to do, which was to prove that Renaissance periodization, that their methods were better than others in the fact that it would help him to get his pro card. He wanted to prove that. And so in competing and getting 6th, all he did was prove that it didn't.
And then, of course, if you tell the grander world that, especially if you're somewhat more, popular or whatever, like I am, reading the comments on the internet just fills you with pure fucking rage.
And so remember, reading the comments, like bro from Bangladesh, he feels rage.
And it's, as usual, a highly disrespectful comment on Instagram. And I fantasize about meeting that person in real life, walking up to them in the gym, way too close to their face and be like, say something, you f***ing say it, and watch them cower and just relish as they cower. And then as they cower away, hurt them physically so that everyone can see and then eat their fucking organs. These are thoughts that I have like daily.
It upsets him to the greatest degree. And so imagine him watching a Coach Greg video. I mean, if he feels rage against bro from Bangladesh, writing in a comment, just say, hey, Mike, you weren't in shape. That wasn't water weight, that was fat. You said you're holding 19, 20 pounds of water.
I have like big love handles that store a lot of water from back when I got fat.
Yeah, it was fat. The comments, they kill him inside. He can't stand it. He's dreaming of meeting up with these people and perhaps having a baseball bat and doing things to that person to the point that medical science couldn't repair him ever again. And many people say, Coach Greg keeps saying all these horrible things about Mike. I repeat what he says himself in various podcasts.
Greg Doucette, who is a two-faced, lying sociopath sucker. If I see him in real life, I might take something from him medical science can't give him back.
I'm not making this shit up. I'm not lying. I'm presenting facts. When Mike talks about Coach Greg, he lies. Greg's a sociopath. Really? Greg's a snake oil salesman. Am I now? I just proved that I wasn't. Oh, and Greg lies about being a doctor. Have I ever said I was a doctor? He even had a shirt. I'm not a freaking doctor. And so he continues to do that even in this video. They never asked him about Coach Greg. He simply blurts it out. Oh, I don't want to attack anyone. I want to be the nice Mike Israetel from now on. Why bring on the hate? And then he brings on the hate against Coach Greg. And so some people say, Greg, why do you keep talking about Mike? He talks about it himself, and I respond with receipts, mic drop, showing you his true colors.
I've consulted with several coaches before, and their protocols were just like comical. I would like have had pure psychosis and been arrested for murder if I took those amounts of drugs.
And so the problem with Mike being coached by other coaches is he says if he listened to those coaches, he would have psychotic events and be arrested for things that he probably shouldn't be doing.
My best. And if my best isn't good enough, I'll just settle for being a, jiu-jitsu killer, famous millionaire.
If you say that, even one time, if that's even possible, why would you put yourself in harm's way? Why would you take that chance? And so that's the first problem. He can't listen to other coaches because if he did what they told him to do, he would be in prison.
Problem number 2 is I'm both on a raw IQ scale smarter than almost every coach, maybe every coach.
His second problem is he's likely smarter than every single coach in the world. There are a lot of coaches out there. I'm thinking off the top of my head, somebody that might have been able to help him. Hanny Rambod, Coach Derek Lunsford, Mr. Olympia, Chris Bumstead, Mr. Olympia, and others. I feel like if I had to listen to a coach, remember, I'm Coach Greg. I'm a very popular, famous coach. I've done very well for myself. But I don't see myself at the level of Hanny Rambod. I think that if Hanny Rambod were to coach me, I could learn many things from him. I think he would have been an excellent coach. But Mike Israetel, he feels that he's just smarter than everyone. Every coach out there. What could he possibly learn from them?
I know more about physiology, body responses, etc. than they do in most cases.
He knows more about the human body than they do. After all, he has a PhD in sports science. That may be true. You might know more about the body in general. You studied, perhaps you had the highest average. Coach Greg had the highest GPA. When I did my master's, he has a PhD. So perhaps Mike knows some things more than me. For sure, I'm giving him that. He knows more about certain things of the body than I do. But I've done 59 bodybuilding competitions myself, got shredded every single time. I've coached thousands of athletes, also got shredded and attained IFBB pro cards. For example, Ian Valere, who described that while being coached with me, even as an amateur, he got more shredded than even when he was a pro. That was Ian Valere, whose coaching abilities just happened to get Chris Bumstead to 4 Mr. Olympia titles. And so I coached the coach of Chris Bumstead. And you think I don't know anything, that I couldn't coach Mike Israetel to get leaner and do better in his competition? That Mike couldn't learn anything from me because, well, he has a PhD and I just have a master's. Is it not possible that I understand the intricacies of dieting, training while being depleted, what you have to do to get to the competition stage while being at your best? Could Hanny Rambod not know anything more than Mike in order to help him? Mike, on a scale of 1 to 10, is a 1 in terms of his ability to contest prep. It's a 1. You would learn more from bodybuilding.com and TikTok University than you would from Mike. You're thinking, how is that possible? Well, why not listen to Lyle McDonald, who describes in detail?
Get him to spend that money he spent on 4 lateral raise machines for a $30,000 home gym. Dude, pay someone to do your meal prep for you.
And on the Solomon podcast, they spent over 3 hours dissecting everything he does wrong. But let's start with having Gatorade and cereal while contest prepping.
You don't get so sloppy in the off season. That's because he apparently thinks that a giant bowl of Captain Crunch post-workout is how you get the optimal results.
Hell no, man.
How many think that that is the proper way to diet down for competition? You have cereal and Gatorade.
Gatorade makes me shit my pants.
And Mike can't tell the difference between 20 pounds of fat and 20 pounds of water.
And so I ended up carrying 20 pounds of body water on stage.
You're a unique snowflake, Mike.
I mean, step number 1 when you're a coach, you diet long enough to get shredded. You don't bulk to 270 pounds when you're a 5'6" manlet. It's not necessary. And you learn from previous mistakes. I could see him doing 1 or 2 competitions and not being shredded. You learn from that and you get better. But Mike has been competing for years, and yet he still can't compete shredded. And he thinks it's just water. It's fat. You see him in his podcast with his t-shirts. You can tell bro isn't shredded. I believe at 49, I'm in better shape in my off season than Mike is on stage.
And so if I don't trust you intellectually, and I think I can do a better job doing what you do than you.
And so he simply doesn't trust other coaches intellectually. If I think I'm smarter than you, of which he thinks he's smarter than everyone, then I don't trust your methods. And so how can I follow someone's methods that I don't trust? Mike is uncoachable. Lyle McDonald stated this. Mike is uncoachable.
In the first case, and again, I made this point numerous times during the videos I did, which is I would not coach someone like Mike because Mike is fundamentally uncoachable.
And so even if Mike hired Greg, of which he could for only $39,000 a year, remember, that's peanuts for Mike Israetel. He perhaps makes that in a day. He wouldn't listen to my suggestions. He wouldn't follow the diet recipes in my cookbook. He likely wouldn't listen to taking terkesterone and GO2 max from his favorite tea plug, Coach Greg, and he wouldn't follow the diet. And so what could I really do with him?
And I have taken the advice much more directly of coaches before and been really fucked over. So that leaves a bad taste in the mouth.
Well, he has had a Kaiko bar from Coach Greg in his mouth, and he enjoyed that.
The Kaiko bar from HTLT. Not bad. Great macros. Thank you, Greg.
And so perhaps if he hired a guy like Coach Greg, it wouldn't leave a bad taste.
That when I'm on high doses of anabolic steroids, I become very disagreeable. And so it becomes very maniacally fun for me.
Can anyone believe that he's actually stating this? Like, Mike is so honest to a fault, it's unbelievable. Remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is the stuff that he admits to. While he's prepping, while he's on performance-enhancing substances, let's call it, it becomes maniacally fun for him to resist what the coach tells him to do. How are you going to coach someone like that? It's fun for him to do the opposite of what the coach says. Coach says, do this. I'm Mike Israetel. I'm smarter than you. I'm not going to diet for 24 weeks. I'll diet for 12. And why would I avoid eating cereal? I'm going to eat it anyway, because I'm Mike Israetel with a PhD, smarter and bigger than Mike Mentzer, and I know more than every other coach out there.
And so that when I ask them questions, but why did you say this and why not this? It becomes pleasant for me to watch them intellectually break down and be unable to justify anything.
I mean, I don't enjoy and make it pleasant to try to make my coach feel like an idiot. The coach that I hired, it's not my life's goal to try to make them look bad. I hire the coach to learn from that coach.
Like, you make a lot of money and you can have any coach you. Why not go to one of those people that think mostly like you?
And so Simeo interjects. You said that you're not as smart when you're on performance-enhancing drugs, that your fluid intelligence goes down. Perhaps you're in a brain fog, you can't think clearly. And so why not hire somebody who can do this for you? Perhaps you get in diet mode, diet brain, and you should leave the coaching up to them. Many people, they're very intelligent with their contest preps, but they still hire a coach because when you're dieting, the mind, it plays tricks on you. You look in the mirror and you feel fat, you're not sure what to do. And so you trust their opinion over your own. Why not do that?
My intelligence when I'm on a lot of PEDs is still higher than... I haven't met a whole lot of people in the bodybuilding industry with whose raw intellect I was blown away.
And so Mike says, even when I'm on steroids, even when my intelligence is lower, even with the brain fog, even when I'm suppressed, I'm still smarter than everyone. It sounds cocky, but I am. And so Hanny Rambod, Chris Aceto, Coach Greg, you name these coaches, they couldn't help me. I'm the best. I'm Mike Israetel, the man who previously stated that whatever you're the best at in your world, in your life, give him 1 year, he'll be more proficient than what you are best at in this world. Just give him 1 year.
I'd say the smartest person I know so far in bodybuilding on raw ability to process information and derive deep meaning is
Greg.
Except, of course, Jared, who, well, of course, he works with me in Renaissance periodization. So do you not think there's a slight, tiny bit of bias? Yeah, my business partner guys, my coworkers, yeah, maybe them, but no one else. I mean, if I had the privilege of working with Hanny Rambod, he's no Jared Feather. Imagine if Jared Feather would speak the truth in an interview. What was it like coaching Mike? Helping him with his posing, with your suggestions and so on. How did he take it? Anyone think that he would be saying nice things if it was Jared Feather spoke like Coach Greg, it would make a Netflix documentary.
Almost all the coaches that will tell you to do things will tell you to do things that are in part very wise and very true, and in part marginally wrong, and in part categorically wrong.
And so if all coaches say some things that are right and some things that are wrong and some things that are very wrong, how come Mike thinks he's that magical snowflake, that fingerprint, that unique specimen of the world, the only person whose knowledge we can learn from?
Because I tend to become excessively disagreeable when I'm being coached with high doses of anabolics, then it becomes very, very difficult for me to work with a coach.
Maybe you shouldn't take them. Maybe this sport, it's just not cut out for him. Mike wanting to be an IB pro would be analogous to somebody who's scared of heights that wants to be a parachute instructor. Better jobs out there. Perhaps some that they require you to be on the ground.
And they started off with a few guys who had really good genetics. They won some, and then it just keeps turning over like that. That's why most good coaches are good coaches. It's not because they're brilliant or anything like that.
And so, unfortunately, Hanny Rambod and other coaches, they don't know anything. They just got lucky. Lucky in who they were coaching. That's how Mike justifies it, because when he looks at Hanny Rambod and thinks, wow, he's coached these multiple Mr. Olympia champions, something that's never been done before, he got lucky. I mean, he can't know more than me. I'm Mike Israetel. I have a PhD. I mean, we've seen him critique multiple Mr. Olympia champions, and his methods are certainly better. For example, he knew way more than Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates, had he had Mike Israetel as coach, he would have been far better. And yet we've seen Mike Israetel when coaching athletes, he gets them to stop at what? 10 reps in reserve, thinking it's a hard set.
One more. You got one more. Let's go. Yes. Good stuff. Mike goes, oh, you want to keep going? Let's go. You want more? Go. Chris pumps out 8 more.
Makes me shit my pants.
And so if Mike were to coach these amazing athletes, Hadi Chopin and so on, they wouldn't train hard anymore. They'd have to leave 1 to 3 reps in reserve. Perhaps they could lay down and do 10-pound dumbbell bicep curls on a bench and grow their biceps bigger than ever before. I mean, that's why Sebum didn't have amazing biceps. He wasn't doing the laid down incline dumbbell curl with the 10-pounders.
I just need justification. And it's mostly what I don't get from coaches. Now, that's mostly because I'm insanely disagreeable, and that's a huge, huge problem.
Insanely disagreeable. And so before you write in the comments section how I'm shitting on Mike, I'm quoting and repeating what he himself has been saying.
But I think in the future, I'm likely to probably use a combination of Joe Jeffrey and Jared Feather for coaching. And once we understand how the dynamics of my body perform.
And so it's funny that Mike Israetel thinks that his body is just unique to everyone else and that there aren't some basic things that he needs to do.
I have like big love handles that store a lot of water from back when I got...
So I do appreciate your insight onto my posing, but I'll tell you, like, you're missing like 90% of the equation.
Simeo then critiques Mike's posing. Mike then spends 10 minutes saying why he's wrong. Why Simeo doesn't know what he's talking about. And so he says, yeah, I appreciate that you're trying to help me. I get that. But you're categorically wrong. And spends 10 minutes explaining exactly why he should have just shut up.
So if I ever see comments on the internet about my posing, almost all of them are worthwhile, like completely worthless.
And so whenever he sees comments about his posing, almost every single comment is absolutely worthless. Remember, Mike Israetel surrounds himself with yes men. He has people who tell him what he wants to hear, but not what he needs to hear. And so perhaps if a coach says you need to diet an extra 10 weeks, he says, nope, you're wrong, I'm smarter than you. And then blames the fact that he's not in shape on the fact he's holding water. Anyone thought of that?
And I'm just real tired of like the me versus him team, bullshit. Like people are like, oh, I'm on team Greg Doucette or team Dr. Mike. Like, guys, there's no team. There's no teams.
And so Mike then brings up, I don't want any of the drama. Of course he doesn't. Why would Mike want drama when he knows he's in the wrong? The points that I bring out are comments that he himself has made. They are slam dunk mic drop moments.
I have more willpower than you.
It's not fat, it's water. I'm smarter than every coach out there, even when on performance enhancing drugs.
And who am I compared to Mike Mentzer? Well, I'm bigger and stronger than Mike Mentzer.
What could I learn from anyone? I'm categorically smarter than them.
They undertanned the living crap out of me.
I get pleasure from making coaches seem dumb that they're wrong.
Makes me shit my pants.
And of course, he continues to slander myself with made up things that aren't even true.
Probably take about a year and become an authority in the field in which you think you're good.
Coach Greg is a sociopath, a liar. He's a snake oil salesman. He's a Turk sucker. Which one of us do you think is more likely to enjoy sucking a Turk? He talks about my Kaiko protein bars, saying that they're mislabeled. Do you really expect to get a cinnamon bun inside of the protein bar?
And so when Mike unwraps a Quest birthday cake bar, is he expecting to blow out candles? What's wrong with you, Mike? Really?
Thank you, Greg.
And so he talks about me, he yaps, and he lies. Lies about Coach Greg, what I've been saying, what I've been doing, how I represent myself. And he doesn't leave it right now. Mike didn't have to bring up my name, but he chose to. He chose to. He knows whatever he says, I'm going to respond to it. And so what does he say right now?
Greg Doucette is a person that explicitly on paper only wants to make as much money as possible.
Explicitly on paper, Greg only wants to make as much money as possible. Let's analyze that. I have given away over 100,000 free diet and training programs. Mike Israetel, does he give away free diet and training programs, or does he not charge people for that? I'm not aware that his RP app is free. Free diet and training programs. And it's not just one plan, it's close to 50 pages. Have a plan for 1,500 calories, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, multiple free plans, 100,000 given away. Let's say I charged $50 for a coaching plan, detailed, which I'm doing. $50 times 100,000 is $5 million. Let's say I only charge $10. It's still $1 million. And so categorically on paper, he only wants to make as much money as possible. Is Mike aware that I turned down, rejected, denied, didn't go through with it? $2,000 per video to promote a SARM supplement company. I produce 1 or 2 videos per day. And so let's go with 1 a day. That's $730,000 USD per year. That's well over $100 billion Canadian. Well, it's actually a bit over $1 million. And so if I just care about money, why am I not promoting a SARM supplement company that literally offered me $2,000 per video to promote them? But Mike thinks that my turkesterone is fake. And so he's a snake oil salesman. Does he talk about Gorilla Mind and or any other supplement company and say that they're selling snake oil? Never. Mine is proven to be authentic, real, past all the testing. All of it. Exceeded label claim. No other turkesterone supplement did so. They all lied. But I'm the liar. I'm the one that only cares about making money.
There's no ethics whatsoever and will put out anything.
No ethics whatsoever. I spent so much time, years, to get the proper sourcing. Did everything. And so ask Nootropics Depot, which supplement company in the world has the most ethics? Ask them. You know how much bullshit is to hear lies about me every freaking day when our company did everything, all the due diligence needed to make sure you're getting what you asked for. Did Derek do this? Did anyone? How freaking dare you, Mike? And so perhaps Mike just doesn't know. Perhaps I give him the pass. He doesn't know this. And so once Nootropics Depot proves our ethics and morals, will he then make an apology? I'm sorry, Coach Greg, I was wrong. I didn't realize all the extra work that you did and went above and beyond every other company to ensure that you were doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so let's see if Mike can be a better man.
It's just Greg, he's not looking out for the betterment of the world. He's not trying to make you fit. He's trying to sell you a cookbook. He's very transparent.
He's not trying to better anyone. He's not trying to make you fit. He's just trying to sell you a cookbook. Is it not possible, now hear me out, Mike, that I'm trying to do both? Now, what Mike doesn't realize is I was formerly a physical education teacher, winning awards, volunteer of the year, coaching 8 sports in a year, volunteering all of my time for the betterment of the world, to ensure those kids were fit, to encourage them, to coach them, to mentor them into being healthy, active adults. And so is it really bad that I'm selling a cookbook that actually works? That close to 100,000 people, Mike, have benefited from. Mike has no idea how good this freaking cookbook is. But yet, what is his advice? Consume Gatorade and cereal on a diet?
Gatorade makes me shit my pants.
That when you lose a competition, you blame it on some other excuse other than your own. That you don't show accountability. You blame it on some tanning company.
They undertanned the living crap out of me.
But I'm the bad guy. Does anyone in the world, and that's right, in the world, encourage cardio more than Coach Greg? Do I not live by example? Guys, I'm racing bikes almost every day. I tell you to do 150 minutes of cardio a week, that I stopped abusing steroids, explain the mistakes that I've made, and that I'm only on HRT prescribed by my doctor. Do you think that Mike is only on HRT prescribed by his doctor? Last I checked, Mike is in the United States, where using steroids that are not prescribed by your doctor would be illegal. And so do you really think he's going to make videos talking about exactly what he's taking in detail? That would be breaking the law. He can't do that. He's a famous man. Coach Greg, I'm in Canada. We're allowed to use steroids. It's not illegal. Now, we can't sell them. Of course, we can't do that. And so I always say, never break the law. Only take advice from your own doctor. How is that a bad message, Mike? Print that.
Print that.
And then I'm not against Greg Doucette in any way.
I'm not against Greg Doucette in any way. Greg's a cocksucker, liar, snake oil salesman. He has no ethics. He's a sociopath. Only cares about making money. I'm not saying anything about Coach Greg in a bad way. I'm just saying what he is. Mike, you're lying about me. You're spreading lies. I never said I was a doctor. I haven't done any of the things you're suggesting. On paper, he only cares about money. The evidence shows this is not true. How can you dispute this? And so here's the truth. Mike hates me so much because I called him out on not winning his pro card with the truth. It's not because of his tan. It's because he wasn't in shape. Lyle McDonald said he needed to lose 5 kilograms. He wasn't weeks out of shape, he was months.
He has the shape of a square.
If Mike had people who were not yes men in his corner, people who he could listen to, guys like Johnny Shree perhaps that are saying, hey, you're not in shape, you're not lean, and perhaps Johnny could help him with his posing. But no, I won't listen to Johnny because he doesn't work for Renaissance Periodization. Johnny Shreve, he doesn't have a PhD, and so I'm so much smarter than him. Even though Johnny has won the Best Poser Award as an IFBB pro, what can I learn from Johnny? And so what Mike's demonstrating is known as the overconfidence bias. Also could be called the curse of knowledge. It's essentially the opposite of Dunning-Kruger. And so what happens is, when you're really smart at something in certain fields, of which I'm saying Mike, he actually is. I give credit where credit is due. Mike is very intelligent in many areas. But unfortunately, it's not in contest prep. And so because he's so smart in other fields, he has a PhD in sports science, he feels like he knows more about contest prep than anyone. But yet he doesn't. He has an overconfidence bias. Can you see it? Think of it. He thinks he knows more than Hanny Rambaud. Do I need to say anything else? He certainly knows more than Coach Greg, and so he's overconfident in his ability to contest prep. And so when he's not shredded, he thinks he's that unique snowflake, that fingerprint different from everything else. That it's 20 pounds of water, that it isn't 20 pounds of fat. Do you get it now? Are you starting to understand which person's arguments make more sense? Coach Greg, who's saying he needs to diet longer, that he's not lean enough? Or Mike Israetel, who says he's that magic snowflake who carries 20 pounds of water from having overbulked in his past? Need I go on?
Upsetting real people because he, attacks people at their weakest and their worst points and violently resists attack of him and takes it very personally, which is insanely hypocritical.
And so Mike says, I violently attack people who criticize me. Let's compare us both. I say that the reason Mike didn't win an IFBB Pro card is because he didn't diet hard enough, that he wasn't in shape. He feels it's because of his tan. Mike then says, I'm a sociopath cocksucker, print that. Mike then says my Kaiko bar is full of lies. Mike says that I lie about being a doctor. Mike then says I have no ethics or morals, that all I care about is making money. That I'm a horrible human being, the person of which he's had the greatest displeasure in history of him ever meeting. Remember, in the world. He hates me to that extent. All he feels is rage. When he reads negative comments from the bro from Bangladesh, He wants to hurt the person.
Cower, and then as they cower away, hurt them physically so that everyone can see and then eat their fucking organs. These are thoughts that I have like daily.
And so he says, I take it personally. I don't care. Does anyone think that I actually hate Mike? That I really despise him? That I wouldn't, for example, go on a podcast and discuss the beef that we have? My beef would be, I don't have a beef. Mike has the beef. Mike hates Greg. You're thinking, Coach Greg hates Mike. Oh my goodness. I don't hate Mike. Mike hates me and others. And so when he says I violently resist attacks from other people, that I take it really personal, that's not what is going on. I literally make videos because people want to watch them. He states that it's kind of like the WWE. It is, Mike. It really is. I highlighted on my stories yesterday, the #1 video of the week was me with the slam dunk case against Mike Israetel. That was my #1 video by a lot. Coach Greg training in the gym, giving advice training, it was my 10th place video. And so when people think that all I do is drama, it's not true. The only videos you're watching are the ones about drama. It's not me that's not watching them, it's you. You dictate what you watch. Does that not make sense? What you're watching is what you're watching. And you're not watching my purely educational videos. You don't want to watch those. You're watching for the drama. And so that's why I educate you while showing you the drama. I do both.
That whole like versus thing is just fucking old news, you know, and it's just much better to be positive and optimistic and just say, I think everyone, Greg Doucette included, can have a wise perspective that we can integrate into our own lives and make better.
And so would he say that I'm a liar because the Kaiko bar has a photo of a cinnamon bun on it and not a protein bar picture? As almost all protein bars show a photo of something that's not exactly what the bar is, it represents what it's going to taste like? Or would Mike say that I have no ethics and morals when clearly I do? Way more than most supplement companies. And so I'm looking forward to Mike Israetel's apology. When he says, I'm sorry, Coach Greg, for lying about you. I got you wrong. I made a mistake. You're not selling snake oil. Everyone else is. I can't wait to hear Mike's apology. If he doesn't, then you know he isn't a man of his word. He's trying to spread positivity. Well, why not spread the positivity and admit you were wrong about my supplement company after all? Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you liked it. Watch one of those two bloops. And of course, you can get the Kaiko bars as well as the T-Plug Stack, GO2 Max, and Turkesterone on the website. And there's a money-back guarantee. If you still somehow don't believe me, it's your money back, and on top of that, a $20 gift card. Don't forget to enter code Greg to save yourself 15% off. And of course, you can get the cookbooks. You can buy that. You can get all the other supplements, the Circle Diet book. Seeing as I only care about making money, you can still get the free diet and training program. Does Mike offer the free diet and training program? I mean, Mike doesn't care about money. Mike makes more money than Coach Greg. At least I think he does. He has butlers driving Lambos. And until next time, I am out.